At Christmas dinner, my granddaughter asked me, "Grandpa, how's life in the house I bought for you?" And just like that, the room fell silent. Every fork paused midair. Every smile dropped. But only one person looked terrified, my daughter, Carla. She should have. Because that was the moment I realized I wasn't just a father. I was a pawn. And by the end of that night, she'd learned exactly what it feels like to be exposed in front of the family she thought she could manipulate forever. What happened next was rather unexpected. I will tell you everything. First, let me thank you for your continuous support. If you love stories like this one, support us by subscribing to this channel and comment where you are watching us from. It will be great to hear from you. Now let's jump into the details of what happened. Retirement wasn't supposed to feel like this, like a slow, shameful unraveling. I had always imagined it with a porch swing and the smell of fresh-cut grass, my late wife's laughter trailing behind me as I carried 2 mugs of morning coffee outside. But reality had other plans. After Ellen passed, and the medical bills rolled in like waves after a shipwreck, I found myself standing in front of a foreclosure notice, my hands trembling, wondering how I'd explain this to my children without letting them see me fall apart. It was Carla, my middle child, the ambitious one, the talker, who swooped in like a savior. "Dad, don't even think twice about it. I've got this," she had said, tapping her manicured nails on my kitchen table. "Let me do this for you. You took care of us all those years. Now it's our turn." I wanted to believe her. God help me, I did. The way she spoke, so confidently, so sure of herself, made me feel like maybe I hadn't failed entirely. Maybe she had inherited some strength from Ellen, though Ellen had never been flashy with her help. Carla made a show of things. She insisted on taking me house hunting, choosing the right retirement-friendly bungalow with the wide doorways and the low-maintenance yard. "This one," she said, standing in the driveway of a beige stucco home with a red door. "It's all taken care of. Paid for in full. Merry early Christmas." I should have asked more questions. But grief has a way of dulling your instincts. I nodded, swallowed back the lump in my throat, and moved in the following week. At first, it felt like peace. Quiet mornings with the radio on low. Visits from my granddaughter Megan. A steady rhythm. But then came the unexpected knocks. Inspectors showing up with clipboards, mail addressed to tenant. I asked Carla once, and she brushed it off. "Oh, that's just standard stuff. Bureaucracy. You know how the system is. Don't stress it." But something didn't sit right. I'd been a lot of things in my life. A steelworker, a husband, a father, but I'd never been naive. I started keeping the mail in a drawer. I read every envelope 3 times. Megan, sweet girl that she is, once brought over a laptop to help me Google terms like Section 8 voucher and housing subsidy agreement. Turns out my name wasn't on anything. Not the deed. Not the lease. Not even the utility accounts. I was a ghost in my own home. Still, I said nothing. What could I do? If I confronted Carla, it would explode the family. And Megan, she loved her mother. She loved me. I couldn't be the reason the bridge between us burned. So I swallowed my pride, day after day, and played the part of the grateful old man. But something inside me was shifting. A quiet bitterness, slow and sour, began to curdle in my chest. The last straw came 2 weeks before Christmas. I found a letter slid under my door. No stamp, no envelope, just a single sheet of paper that read, "Tenant notice. Rent due is $1,300 per month. Delays in payment will result in lease termination. Property manager, Carla Henson." It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. She wanted me to know. She was charging someone rent, maybe even me, if she could swing it. And that's when I realized she hadn't given me a home. She was using me, using my name, my presence, my very existence as a tool to line her pockets. And every smile, every "I love you, Dad," had come with a price tag. I sat at the kitchen table that night, staring at the red front door she had picked out so confidently, wondering if Ellen would have seen through it all sooner than I did. I should have confronted Carla then. I should have called her and let her hear the crack in my voice, the betrayal in every syllable. But revenge, real revenge, isn't loud. It waits. It finds the perfect moment, when the liar feels safest, when the world is watching. Christmas dinner. That's when the truth would come. And she had no idea what was coming. The Sunday before Christmas, I pulled out every envelope I'd kept from the drawer beneath the microwave, the one I used to pretend didn't exist. Letters from the city, bills, inspection notices, all addressed to Carla. Not me. Not even once. I spread them out on the kitchen table like evidence in a courtroom, each one a nail in the coffin of the lie she had carefully constructed. I should have been angrier, I suppose. But mostly, I felt small. Like I'd spent my whole life building a house out of trust, and my own daughter had walked in with a matchbook and a smile. I thought about the way she had handed me the keys with that overly theatrical hug, the way her voice rose just enough to make sure everyone at the moving-in party heard her say, "Dad, you deserve this." God, the way she weaponized generosity, it made me sick to my stomach. I looked over at the framed photo on the wall. Ellen in her favorite yellow cardigan, holding Megan as a baby, the both of them laughing like the world was pure. Ellen had always believed in second chances. She forgave people even when they didn't deserve it. But this wasn't a mistake. This was a con. I needed to be sure. I needed to see the whole picture. So the next day, I asked Megan if she could help me look something up again. "Of course, Grandpa," she said, setting her backpack down. She was 16, smart as a whip, and had that kind of quiet empathy that reminded me of her grandmother. "What do you want to check this time?" I hesitated, then pushed the stack of papers toward her. "I want to know what this address is listed as officially. The ownership, if you can. And who's paying for it." She looked confused, then concerned, then curious. "Okay, I can check the county assessor's site. That usually shows ownership records." Within minutes, she had it pulled up. She squinted at the screen. "Huh. It says the house is owned by a property management LLC. Not you. Not Mom either, but hold on. Wait, Mom is listed under the rental license. She's managing the property, not owning it." I leaned back in my chair. She kept reading, her fingers scrolling nervously. "There's a voucher program tied to the property. Some kind of government assistance for housing. That must be why those inspections keep happening." "Grandpa," her voice grew quiet. "Are you paying rent?" "No," I said, "but someone is. Or she's pretending I am." Megan stared at me, eyes wide. Her hands were shaking. She looked down at the laptop, then back up at me. Why would she do this? I didn't answer. She already knew. Her mother had always been about appearances. It was easier to pretend she was the golden child taking care of her aging father than to admit she was scamming the system, and me along with it. "I'm sorry, Grandpa," she whispered. I reached out and took her hand. "Not your fault, sweetheart. You just helped me see it clearly." The worst part wasn't that Carla had lied. It was that she thought I was too old, too grateful, too broken to notice. She had taken my vulnerability and twisted it into profit. And for what? A little extra cash? Prestige? The illusion of being the generous daughter? That night, I wrote everything down. Dates, names, letters. I made copies. I stapled them into manila folders and tucked them inside a locked drawer, right beneath Ellen's will and the deed to the house we lost. Carla's arrogance would be her undoing, because she never imagined I'd keep quiet, not for long. And she sure as hell never imagined Megan would be the one to crack the whole thing open. Christmas was in 4 days. The entire family would be there, Carla's siblings, cousins, in-laws, and of course, Megan. I had planned to play it safe. Smile. Nod. Keep the peace. But then, on the morning of Christmas Eve, Megan came back from shopping with Carla. She looked pale, silent. She pulled me aside into the den and closed the door behind her. She said, "You'll be moving out in the spring," Megan whispered. She told Aunt Lisa she's going to use the house as an Airbnb to recover her investment. Investment? I laughed bitterly. That's what she calls her father? Megan's voice cracked. She doesn't know I heard her. They were talking in the car. She said you've outlived your usefulness and that it's time to start thinking long-term, meaning more money. My heart clenched. The words shouldn't have surprised me, but hearing them out loud, especially from Megan, was a punch to the gut. I looked at my granddaughter, her eyes glistening, and felt something inside me settle. This wasn't just about the house anymore. This was about dignity, about truth. "You still coming to dinner tomorrow?" I asked her. "Of course," she said. "Why?" I smiled. Because I think it's time your mother found out what it feels like to be blindsided. The house was buzzing with warmth and artificial cheer, the way only a forced family gathering can be. Carla had gone overboard with the decorations again. Every inch of the dining room wrapped in gold ribbon and glittering fake pine. Candles flickering along the table like we were filming a Hallmark commercial instead of sitting on a powder keg. She was in her element, floating between the kitchen and the dining room, wine glass in hand, fake laughing too loud every 5 minutes. To everyone else, it probably looked like success. The responsible daughter, the caretaker, the one who stepped up when her poor old daddy needed a place to stay. But to me, after everything I knew, it looked like camouflage. And the longer I watched her move, the more convinced I became that Carla wasn't just trying to impress the family. She was trying to convince herself that the mask hadn't slipped. "Dad, are you comfortable over there?" she called out to me from across the table, a smile stretched tight across her face. I nodded. "I'm good, sweetheart. Thanks for having everyone." "Oh, please," she waved a hand. "It's the least I could do. After all, family's everything, right?" My eldest, Lisa, shot me a glance. She'd always been more observant than the others. She could sense something was off, but she didn't press. Not yet. Dinner started like it always did, strained small talk, too much wine, and carefully sidestepped history. I chewed slowly, letting the tension build. The timing had to be perfect. I wanted Carla to feel safe. I wanted her to let her guard down. And then Megan, bless that child's honesty, leaned forward with that sweet, curious voice and said, "Grandpa, how's life in the house I bought for you?" Carla froze mid-chew. You could feel it happen. The whole room went silent, like someone hit the mute button on a movie. Even the clinking of cutlery stopped. Megan blinked, looking around, clearly confused by the sudden shift. "What did you say, honey?" Carla asked, her voice sharp now, brittle like glass under pressure. Megan looked from her mother to me. "The house. You told me you bought it for Grandpa. I just asked how he likes it." Carla let out a strained laugh. "Oh, well, it's just a figure of speech. Grandpa knows what I meant." I put my fork down, slowly. "Do I?" Her head snapped toward me. "Dad, no, really," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Do I know what you meant, Carla? Because lately I've been wondering." "Dad, let's not." "No," I said louder this time. "Let's." The room tensed. Lisa straightened in her seat. Carla's husband looked like he wanted to disappear. Megan sat frozen, her eyes darting between us. I turned to the rest of the table, my voice steady now. "I think it's time everyone knew the truth about this so-called gift. Because it wasn't a gift. It was a scam." "Dad, stop," Carla hissed, her face going red. "No, you stop," I said, my voice hard. "You lied to your own father. You told me you bought that house for me. You stood in front of me, your siblings, your daughter, and pretended to be this generous, selfless woman. But the truth is, you never bought that house at all. You rented it under your name, put me in there like a prop, and used me to qualify for housing benefits." A collective gasp rippled through the table. Her brother Mark dropped his fork. Lisa's jaw went slack. "Is this true?" Lisa asked, her voice low. "Of course not." Carla snapped. "Dad doesn't understand how these things work. It's complicated." "Don't you dare," I said. "Don't you dare talk down to me like I'm some doddering old fool who can't read a rental agreement." Carla stood now, her chair scraping loudly across the tile. "This isn't the time or place." "No, it's the perfect time," I said. "You've been cashing in on my presence while parading around as the good daughter. You told Megan you bought the house for me. You told your siblings I was living comfortably because of your sacrifice. But you were collecting checks and planning to evict me when the money stopped. You were going to list the house as an Airbnb, isn't that right?" Carla's face crumbled for half a second before the rage took over. "I did what I had to do," she shouted. "You think you're the only one who's ever struggled? I have bills too. I have a family to raise. You used me," I said, my voice sharp now. "You exploited my grief, my vulnerability. You made me believe I had a place to rest, and all the while you were cashing checks and writing me off like a bad investment." Tears welled in Megan's eyes. She looked at her mother, horrified. "Is it true?" Carla didn't answer. Lisa stood now, her expression icy. "You lied to all of us. And for what? Money." Oh, don't act so high and mighty, Carla snapped. You didn't offer to help Dad. None of you did. Because you said you had it handled, Lisa shot back. You said he was taken care of. We believed you. The table dissolved into shouting. Mark cursed under his breath. Carla's husband looked at the floor, clearly ashamed. Megan ran from the room, tears streaming down her face. I could hear her footsteps upstairs a moment later, a door slamming. The chaos rang in my ears like a church bell struck wrong. Carla looked around at the wreckage, her face contorting. I did what I had to do, she repeated, softer now, as if trying to convince herself. No, I said. You did what you wanted to do, and now you're going to face the consequences. She scoffed, but there was no power in it anymore. Just fear. You want consequences? She said, her voice trembling. Fine. Move out. I'll sell the damn house. I don't need this. I stood slowly. You won't be selling anything. Not after I report what you've been doing. Fraud. Misuse of government funds. I have everything documented. And believe me, Carla, you're not the only one who knows how to file a report. Her mouth fell open. You wouldn't. Oh, I would, I said. Because you didn't just steal a house. You tried to steal my dignity. And you don't get to do that and walk away smiling. The room went silent again. But this time, it was a different kind of silence. One that smelled like fear, tasted like truth. I walked out without another word. Let her explain her way out of that. The house was still decorated like a magazine cover, but now it felt like a crime scene. After the explosion at dinner, I stepped outside for air and never walked back in. I didn't pack a bag, didn't say goodbye. I just walked down the icy sidewalk to Lisa's car, got in the passenger seat, and let the silence ride between us until we were 5 blocks away. Dad, she said gently, not even looking at me. I'm sorry. I should have asked questions. I should have known something wasn't right. You trusted her, I said. That's not something to feel ashamed about. It's what we were all supposed to do. She nodded, but her jaw was tight, her hands white-knuckling the steering wheel. The same way Ellen used to get when someone crossed the line. That night, I stayed in Lisa's guest room. No fanfare, just a warm blanket and her husband bringing me a hot cup of tea without saying a word. I don't think any of us slept. By morning, the texts had already started. The first was from Carla's husband. I'm sorry for everything. I had no idea. She told me it was a family trust situation. Then one from Mark. If you want to press charges, I'll back you. She humiliated herself and the rest of us. And then Megan. Just one line. Grandpa, can I come stay with you for a while? That one hit different. That one made me sit down. Lisa walked in holding her phone. She posted on Facebook. I raised an eyebrow. What? Like a confession. Lisa handed me the phone. It was worse than that. It was a long, performative post with a Christmas photo attached. Our family around the dinner table, taken before everything had blown up. The caption read, Family isn't always perfect, but it's where the heart is. Doing my best to take care of the ones who raised me. Sometimes people don't appreciate the sacrifices you make. But I know my truth. Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments, all sympathetic. You're such a good daughter. Don't let ungrateful people ruin your holiday. Some people just don't get it until it's too late. Lisa snorted. She's already rewriting the narrative. That was fast, I muttered. Do you want me to say something? She asked. I will. She's not getting away with this. No, I said. Let her perform. The people who matter were at that table. And the people in charge of the housing board won't be checking Facebook. She sat beside me. You're really going to report her? I nodded. She committed fraud. Not just against the system. Against her own father. That afternoon, I called the housing authority. I gave them every document. Every envelope. Every piece of mail with her name and mine side by side in that twisted arrangement. I told them the truth, plain and simple. They asked for statements, so I gave them one, 5 pages handwritten in ink, signed and dated. I didn't hear from Carla directly for 2 days. Then came the voicemail. I played it with Lisa in the room. Dad, I don't even know where to start. I'm sorry, okay? I was just trying to create something stable for Megan, for all of us. I didn't think it would go this far. You didn't have to go to them. Please don't do this. We can fix it, can't we? Please call me back. Please. The panic in her voice didn't move me. What struck me was the choice of words. Not, I hurt you. Not, I betrayed your trust. Just, you didn't have to do this. Like I was the one setting fire to her life. I deleted the voicemail. 2 days later, a notice went up on the front door of that beige stucco house with the red door. Rental contract under investigation. Occupant to vacate pending review. Lisa drove me by it on the way to pick up Megan. She's going to lose it, Lisa said, watching my face. She already lost it, I replied. The day she decided my back was a good place to build her throne. When Megan came out of the school building, backpack slung low, eyes hollow, I felt something crack in me, not from her sadness, but from the sheer weight of how hard she was trying to hold herself together. You sure about this? I asked gently as she climbed into the back seat. She nodded. I can't look at her right now. She's still your mom, Lisa said softly. I know, Megan whispered. That's what makes it worse. We didn't talk much on the drive back, but that night, Megan sat beside me in Lisa's living room and said something I'll never forget. She told me I should never take kindness for granted. That was her favorite line, but she didn't mean kindness. She meant control. I turned to her. You're nothing like her, you know. She didn't answer right away, just stared into her hot chocolate. Then she whispered, I hope not. Carla always believed in performance over substance. To her, image was everything. The curated Instagram posts, the self-righteous speeches at family events, the way she leaned into a hug just long enough to be seen. That's why her unraveling wasn't loud or explosive. It was worse than that. It was quiet. 2 weeks after Christmas, the official notice arrived. Her Section 8 voucher was suspended pending investigation. Her name was flagged in the system. All future rent payments frozen. The house, my house, as she called it, was under compliance review, and she was instructed to vacate or face formal fraud charges. Lisa handed me the letter like she was passing over a medal. She's going to lose it. I didn't say anything. I just took the envelope and set it beside my coffee. 3 hours later, my phone rang. Carla. I let it go to voicemail again, but this time I played it. Lisa sat across from me, arms folded. Megan sat on the arm of the couch, earbuds out, listening. Dad, please. They're saying I have to leave. Do you know what that means for me? For Megan? I could lose everything. Why are you doing this to me? You've already embarrassed me in front of everyone. I've said I'm sorry. Isn't that enough? I paused the voicemail. Do you want to keep listening? I asked Megan. She shook her head. She's not sorry. She's scared. That girl was right. Carla wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry for what it cost her. The next week was a slow collapse. Her husband moved into his brother's house. Megan stayed with me and Lisa. And Carla? She packed up the red-doored rental and moved into a one-bedroom unit across town. No more carefully staged family dinners. No more bragging rights. No more benefit checks padded by her father's presence. I never said a word to her. That was the worst part for her, I think. The silence. The fact that the man she tried to control with kindness had finally cut her out completely. Mark called one night to say he heard from her. She's telling everyone she was just trying to help you. That you turned on her out of nowhere. Let her, I said. Truth has a way of sitting with people long after the lies wear off. Mark was quiet for a moment. I'm proud of you, Dad. You didn't deserve what she did. And you handled it better than I would have. That night, Megan came into my room while I was reading. She stood there for a moment, then sat on the edge of the bed. She's trying to get me to come back, she said. She told me she made a mistake and that she's the victim. She say those exact words? She said, he ruined my life. He took everything from me. I sighed. You don't have to choose sides, sweetheart. But she looked up at me, tears in her eyes. Yes, I do. She crawled under the blanket beside me, just like she used to when she was little and scared of thunderstorms. You gave me the truth, Grandpa, she whispered. She gave me guilt. I didn't cry, but I felt something close to it. That quiet ache that sits behind your ribs when something broken finally lands in the right place. Megan didn't go back. Carla tried calling 2 more times. I never answered. She sent a letter, handwritten, rambling about betrayal and pride and forgiveness. It ended with, I don't recognize the man you've become. I laughed when I read it, because I did recognize the man I'd become. He was the same man I used to be. Before grief, before weakness, before betrayal disguised as love. The only difference now? He had boundaries. And peace. And peace is louder than any apology she could ever fake. It was nearly spring when the last cold wind rolled through the yard, scattering the dead leaves that had clung to bare branches longer than they should have. I stood at Lisa's back porch that morning, coffee in hand, watching Megan toss a ball for their dog. She looked lighter. Still quiet, still thoughtful. But no longer hunched under the weight of her mother's emotional blackmail. That kind of freedom, once you taste it, doesn't go back in the bottle. She still got texts from Carla. I never asked to see them. I didn't need to. I already knew what they'd say. They always came in cycles. Accusation, manipulation, guilt, silence, and then a sudden sugar-sweet offer to talk. It was the same loop I'd lived through for nearly a year, except now she'd lost control of the narrative. I wasn't answering. Megan wasn't caving. The silence between us wasn't an empty space. It was a wall. One she built with her lies, and one I now had the strength to stand behind. I sat with the old photo albums that afternoon. Ellen in her garden, the kids in the yard, Carla with missing teeth and grass stains on her knees. She hadn't always been like this. There was once a girl in those photos who baked cookies without asking for applause, who held her sister's hand at the dentist, who once wrote me a birthday card that said, "You're my hero, Dad." I didn't know when that girl had disappeared. Maybe slowly. Maybe all at once. Maybe she'd never been there as much as I wanted her to be. That's the cruel thing about family. You keep filling in the blanks with hope, long after they've stopped earning it. There was a letter from Ellen I hadn't touched since the week of her funeral. I kept it in the top drawer of my nightstand, folded and yellowed at the edges, as if the paper itself had aged alongside me. She'd written it during one of her treatments, just in case, she said. It wasn't dramatic or poetic. Just, Ellen. Plain spoken. Steady. Always thinking ahead. I unfolded it now. If you're reading this, I'm already somewhere better, probably scolding the angels about the garden layout. But you're still here. And you still have work to do. You need to be brave, even when you're tired. Especially when it's family. Hold your ground, sweetheart. They'll call it bitterness, but it's not. It's self-respect. And don't wait around for people to fix what they broke if they don't even see the pieces. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it again and put it back in the drawer, right next to the folder of paperwork I had sent to the housing board. The case was closed. No criminal charges, but Carla had been permanently banned from the program. Her name blacklisted. That beige rental with the red door was now someone else's problem. She'd sent a final text to Megan last week. One last Hail Mary before silence finally took over. "Tell your grandfather he's not the man I thought he was." And Megan had shown it to me, smirking. "He's not," she said. "He's better." That did something to me. Not pride. Not revenge. Just release. I wasn't the man Carla thought I was. I wasn't the frail, desperate old man who would accept crumbs and call it kindness. I wasn't the fool who'd bow my head for the illusion of peace. I was the man Ellen married. The one who raised 3 children with hard hands and a soft heart. The one who, when cornered by betrayal, didn't scream, but stood tall. That Easter, we had a small family lunch at Lisa's. Just a few of us. Quiet. Honest. No fake speeches. No red doors. Before dessert, Megan leaned over and whispered, "Do you think she'll ever really understand what she did?" I looked at her and said, "She doesn't have to. I do," and that was enough. Sometimes, the deepest betrayals come not from strangers, but from the people who claim to love us most. This story isn't just about a stolen house. It's about reclaiming dignity, cutting off manipulation, and choosing peace over pretending. If you've ever had to walk away from a family member to protect your sanity, you're not alone. Drop a comment below if this story hit close to home, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life reckonings.